and then all of a sudden the character go, and the whites, and the white man, in that voice. And I'm kind of like, all right. It was just kind of funny. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
It's not real. Candyman.
Oh, Lord. But now, my friends, now we're going to get to the piece de resistance of today's stream chat. That being Candyman 2021. I'm going to do my review right now. And again, I'm not going to be doing any spoilers because I know the movie just came out today. I want to give people a chance to see it, of course, and, come at their own pace. Maybe some of you have seen it. Actually, that's what I'll do first. I'll ask this chap. For Candyman 2021, how many of you have seen this film so far? I'm very curious if any of you guys have had the time. They did do Thursday screenings, of course. They do Thursday night. But then, you got everything. Danger Locker, yeah, I saw it. We got Danger Locker. He did see the movie. Anybody else? No woman? Nope, not going to the theater. Fair enough. I get that. Togo, have not seen Ice Malice. No, said Nia Brownie. Indeed. Because not yet. I'm going to try to see it in the middle of next week. Lanley, nope, not yet. All right, so it seems a bit like majority of you have not seen this. We got a couple who have, at least one person. Too Tall, I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it with my girlfriend. Nice. Good little date night movie. Very cool. All right, so it looks like most of you have not seen this film. So I'm going to make sure Crispy Reviewers has not seen it. All right, so chat, no spoilers whatsoever. Vlay Miller, neither. I want to see it soon, though. Cool. So at the start checks, now people are going to want to know. People are going to at least want to know this. Is Candyman 2021 better or as good as the original 1992 Candyman? And chat, I got to answer truthfully, it is not. It is not in any capacity better or nearly as good. And I say that with a heavy heart. Now, I'm not going to say everything about this movie is bad, but wow, there's a lot of missteps here. And it was overall, for me, who was very much anticipating this movie, a pretty big disappointment. And I'm going to go into details as to why. There's a lot of things I think this movie stumbles with, and it's a goddamn shame because they had every opportunity to make this as good or better than the original film. They had the unique opportunity, much in the same way that Halloween 2018 had, to make itself nearly as good or even better, in my opinion, better than the original 78 Carpenter film. And yeah, it makes a number of mistakes that I think often plagues not even horror films, but just general storytelling, but before I do that, before I go into some of that stuff, chat, which, I'm surprised even saying this right now. I think, I love the original movie. I'm a big fucking fan of horror, chat, as you can tell, but I gotta admit, I was not the biggest fan of this film, but at first, chat, I do want to talk about what I think this movie does so well. And just to give people some background on the film, this is a direct sequel to, this is very much a direct sequel to the original film. It's not like a reboot. It's not a spiritual successor. No, this is a direct sequel. It ignores the previous two films, the two sequels, Candyman 2 and 3. I've only seen clips of them, so maybe they referenced them in some way. I didn't notice anything. But this is a direct sequel to that film. Takes place about 30 years later, following the character of Anthony McCoy, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen, chat, who is, for those of you who have seen the original film, and it's right up in front and center about this, who, of course, is the child that Virginia Madsen's character Helen saves from the Candyman from the first film. Of course, Yahya Abdul-Mateen's mother is again played by Vanessa Williams as well. Those are the big holdovers from the original film. And, where that movie was kind of examining, racial discrimination and the poverty divide between poor blacks and rich whites in the 90s in Cabrini-Green and in Chicago. This film pretty much is a commentary on gentrification and pretty much everything else. It's everything. It's that and the kitchen sink. It's trying to cover all of these things, chat, over policing, the culture socio-economic divide between whites and blacks, the modern day segregation, chat, cultural segregation, citywide segregation, political segregation. Oh, it's covering everything. At least it tries to, chat. That's what the movie's really about. And and the legend of the Candyman and how it's continued on, how it's evolved since the 1992 original film. That's kind of like the general premise of the movie. Abdul-Mateen plays a struggling artist. His wife is I guess is a curator, played by Tionia Paris. They're both fine in the movie, I would say. They're okay. They're not. I wouldn't say they're compelling characters. They're put into, at least Yahya Abdul-Mateen's in interesting situations. I feel like Tonya Paris is kind of like neglected. They introduced some interesting things with her, but she's kind of like, all right, she's just there. She's not doing a bad job. Like they're not bad in the movie. I just like the material they're giving it's not so interesting. But we're not getting the bad stuff. We go into the good stuff. Immediately, I will say this, immediately as soon as the movie started, you can tell that they have a very talented cinematographer for this movie. There are literally scenes how they're framing them that look like fucking pictures, chat, in this movie. It's like, this is just beautiful to look at, where they showcase modern day Chicago, modern day Cabrini, which was formerly Cabrini-Green, which is no longer there anymore. It's now been gentrified, of course. And they go back and forth, throughout the film. They do some flashbacks to, different periods, different decades in the 70s and things. And I will say that the cinematographer that Anita DaCosta has in this film, John Gulasarian, which I hope I'm saying his name correctly, his fucking framing is immaculate. It's a very pretty looking movie to look at, chat. There's no doubt about it. That's one of the big things I can walk away from, say, this movie is very well shot for the most part. No doubt about that. In terms of the performances, as people have been saying, I think most people have been saying, Coleman Domingo, I think, gives one of the best performances in the movie, who is a resident of Cabrini. Not one of those, rich people, of Cabrini, but, he owns a laundromat. He basically explains the legend of Candyman to Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character. And to great effect, I mean, he just has that fucking voice where he's like, Candyman. He's got that voice. He's got that sing-songy voice. You just want to listen to him tell a goddamn story. You don't even need any fucking flashbacks. It's like, I just want to listen to this guy talk because he's so goddamn good. His voice is like honey, chat. And he does a great job through most of the movie. They do certain things with his character, which I was not a fan of. But for the most part, his performance is very good. I really liked him in the movie. I wish he was in it more, personally. Another person I would say, I'm kind of mixed bag on this person, is Nathan Stewart-Jarrett, who plays the gay brother of Tionia Paris's character. And I know you say, well, he's just a gay character. I'm like, listen, he is very outlandish. That's all I'll say. I don't know. I mean, it's funny because this movie kind of wants to tackle stereotypes and like downplay certain stereotypes, but Jesus Christ, they're fucking indulging in it. I mean, he is a very effeminate gay man, but at the same time, like, even though they're doing that, even though he is a trope, unlike a lot of the characters in this movie, he does have a personality that doesn't fucking grate on you. Like, he is funny. What they give him to say is cool. What they do with his character and how he interprets even stuff from the past is interesting to me. And it's like, and he has a good rapport with Tionia Paris. But I mean, he is very much the gay man trope. That's what he is. But he's good. He's very entertaining and he's good. Anytime he's on screen, I'm more interested than when he's not. I think he does a good job. And another person who is a holdover from the original film, Vanessa Estelle Williams, she's not in the movie a lot, but she is like Coleman Domingo. She commands her scene. She does such a fucking great job. And the fact that she is 58 years old is so surprising. It's like, Jesus Christ, she looks fantastic. But even, her physical appearance aside, what her scene that she gets is very, very good. I would say of the two strongest performers, like I like Nathan Stewart-Jarrett, but the two strongest performers in this movie is by far Coleman Domingo and Vanessa Stelliums. They do a great job. Really love them. Like what they bring. They really delve into the Candyman lore. Like the thing is that's interesting about them. They give exposition, but they tell it in such a way where it doesn't feel like exposition. It's like just fucking interesting to hear them talk about this. Really love that. The other aspect of the film that I love, and I think other people mention this, is that in order to do flashbacks, they do some regular flashbacks and shit, like the 1977 Cabrini and shit, but for a lot of the other flashbacks they do, it's with shadow puppetry, and it's a very interesting aesthetic choice, but it works, where they showcase the various legends of the Candyman and other figures, and I really like that. It was a cool aesthetic choice to make there, where I didn't feel, and even when they're doing exposition, it was like, well, at least I'm not looking to people just fucking talking again. You're actually showing me visually something that I'm not used to seeing. So that was very good. And the other thing is too, I really liked most of the connections to the original film. That's what I'm telling people right now. Watch the original movie first. The other two, I haven't seen all of them. I've only seen clips from them, so I can't say whether they're good or bad. I just don't know. But I would really implore people to watch the original Candyman before you go into this one, because it is a fucking direct sequel. They are constantly referencing things that happened in the original movie. I don't want to say which things. I don't want to say how they interpret certain events, but how they interpret them, who they're talking about, is really good, and it really works. I really like that aspect of it. It was like, goddamn, and it's rewarding for those who are fans of the original film in that way, who like that film's history and those characters. They do some fun things with them. Really dug that. And that I would say is those are the best things about the film. And then I kind of go in the average things with things where I think they're fine. I wouldn't say they're great, but not bad. But sadly it's the two leads in the film, chat, and it's Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Teyonah Parris who play the main couple in the film. And again, it's not that they're doing a bad job. They're not bad performers. Of course not. It's just the material for them is so thinly written, and they're just kind of just average characters. You're just all right. You're seeing mildly interesting things happen to them, like more so of Abdul-Mateen's character, of course. I mean, he's going through a lot in the film, as is hinted at in the trailers and things. But yeah, they're not interesting. Not interesting enough. And I think that's a big flaw of the film. Like, they're not bad, but they're just not interesting. And if I'm following them for the majority of the movie, you got to make your leads compelling. And Nia DaCosta, I know she co-wrote this movie along with Jordan Peele and another writer. Let me go ahead and get that person's name. Wynn Rosenfeld, who I'm not familiar with. I guess they're a collaborator. They've worked with Jordan Peele in the past. Yeah, like they just really underwrite their leads, and I think a lot of the characters too. And that's where we kind of get into the aspects of the movie that I think are either bad or just sloppy, personally. And it's a lot of the supporting characters. I'd say majority of the supporting characters, tertiary characters. This movie, it kind of examines the modern day art scene, whereas the last movie kind of dealt with, it was the first, I'd say third or 2/3 of that movie is an investigative drama where you have the Helen character researching the Candyman urban legend for her thesis on urban legends. This one is just kind of like indulging in the modern art scene, and you're with some of the most grating fucking characters I've seen in quite some time in a horror film. I mean, they're so thinly written, and they just feel so stereotypical. I mean, they're the kind of guy who's at an art show with a glass of wine just going, well, if you read into this, the subtlety, the context, with how you interpret, it's like the interpretation. It's like, fucking shut up. I don't care. And they're always drinking wine all the time, like me. All that. They're very narcissistic. They're not likable. They'll turn on you in a fucking second. They talk down to you. And it's like, okay, I guess you're just setting up a lot of people to die, which a lot of them do. But at the same time, it's like, I just don't like being with any of these people. And it kind of felt like a shitty, at time, like, honestly, it kind of felt like one of those shitty slasher films. It feels like a Friday the 13th or a knockoff or whatever, where it's like, I want all these people to die. And like, I'm sorry, but if you're making a horror movie, I would like a horror film where, you know, I actually care about the characters when they get killed. And these ones, you don't give a shit about them. You just don't care. The one thing with my is I have been around the modern day art scene a lot. It is pretty pretentious. Yeah, it's pretentious. And I'm just like, and just for myself, I'm just not a fan of that. It's like, yeah. And the fact that they spend so much time in that world of modern art appreciation stuff, it really slows down the movie. It's just kind of boring. And that was a criticism against the original Candyman, where Candyman doesn't show up for the first 44 minutes of that fucking film, and where it's most of investigative drama, but I still feel like there was interesting things going on. Helen was still learning about Cabrini-Green and the discrepancies between, both cultures, both societies, how that, people have been punished in unjust ways, based on where they grew up and who they are, the color of their skin. This one, it doesn't. It does that, but at the same time, you have to just be with these really thinly written, underwritten, boring characters. And I struggle with that. So the story where this is all about art and how artists are interpreting the pain of the Cabrini-Green, of the 90s and throughout all those decades, is just like, all right, I couldn't take it. And the other part of it is, even though it's like, this was the least of my problems, but it was still very, it was still there. I took issue with it, just because it's like, all right, is Nia DaCosta is not subtle in her socio-political commentary at all. As I said at the top, she is tackling everything, and like gentrification, over-policing, the economic disparity between blacks and whites in Chicago. The racial segregation, cultural segregation, citywide segregation, like all of this is in the movie. And the thing is, she doesn't spend a lot of time on each. It just feels like you have a scene with like, for example, abdul-mateen, and they're having a conversation, and then suddenly this with another person who doesn't know about or whatever, and it's just suddenly brought up, and then it's dropped again, and it's like, that was just weird. It didn't have like a natural flow, whereas the original Candyman, I feel like it does have that natural flow. All of that is there, all of that's in the background. People are talking about it, but it makes sense for the story itself. Where here, it just pops up, and like you can literally have people talking in a scene about whatever, and then all of a sudden a character go, and the whites, and the white man, in that voice, and I'm kind of like, all right. It was just kind of funny. I don't know if that was intended to be funny, unintentionally funny, but she ain't fucking subtle. Nia DaCosta, I think, is about as subtle as a semi-truck going 90 miles per hour down a fucking highway that's on fire. And it's like, all right, sounds like a conversation with my mom. And the white people. And that's kind of how it is. You have a regular scene, people just talking. It's like, okay, you're building, and then the whites. And I'm like, all right, or whatever it might be. Not even, I'm exaggerating, but a lot of those scenes happen throughout the film. And like, you could do that. You can have all that in the movie, but it's just weirdly brought up in dialogue. It doesn't feel natural at all. And I think that just affects the pacing of the film. Like overall, that whole art thing, you feel it. This movie's only 90 minutes long, and it feels longer than 90 minutes. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It's like, you should have spent more time on these underwritten characters, okay? And less time on this fucking banal art scene, or this art, the whole art culture. And I think you would have had a much better movie. I would have actually cared for a lot of these characters. And then the other thing, chat, and I'm very very sorry to say this, one of the worst aspects of this movie, and I don't know if anyone's been talking about this is how I feel, is the Candyman himself. I hate to do comparisons, but the Candyman in this movie, they expand upon the legend, and they expand upon it in a way that I just think really, it undercuts the character, and it makes them just a ghoul, like literally just a growling, moaning ghoul. And the reason for that is, when you think about the Candyman, the original movie, Tony Todd's Candyman, when you were first introduced to him, truly, he has that voice, that hypnotic voice. She had that, Helen. And she's like, who are you? It's like, you called to me, and I obliged you. Be my victim. Like, he's given lines to say. He has dialogue. He's an interesting character. How he interacts with Helen is interesting. How he interacts with the world is interesting. How he fucks with her. How it's a love story. It's a romance. It's the worst romance imaginable. As this ghost, this entity, this vengeful spirit is alienating you from everyone just so he can have you. It's like, but he does it, but how he does it is interesting to me. Thank you, no, with the 5 minutes. No, yep, that hypnotic voice. It's be my victim. It's great. The Candyman in this, I'm sorry, he's a moaning fucking ghoul. You know what? Most of Candyman's lines in this movie. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He does not have that voice. He's just a monster. And it's boring. And when he kills, and this is the other thing too, the kills in this movie are not great at all. They're not iconic. They're not like that original film. Like those kills in that original movie there's no scene that measures up, and this is where I was going about. It's neither better nor as good. There's no scene like the moment in the bathroom with the little boy who is mentally disabled, and he is horrifically, what's the word I'm looking for? Disfigured, right? There's nothing like that. There's nothing like the scene where Candyman is in the office with the psychiatrist and Helen. There's nothing like that in this film. It's what it is, sadly. It's a lot of CGI blood. A lot of CGI blood. There's some practical effects in the film. There's a lot of CGI, and that's the other part of the movie, Chad. There's some really awful CGI in this film. This movie has a $25 million budget. So you got a lot to work with, especially because, okay, you're not going to use your CGI for certain things, but what they use it for, Jesus. I was like, this is bad. This is not good at all. I mean, there is practical effects, and there's some okay stuff, but a lot of it has that, like, there's practical effects there, but they're CGI assisted, which makes them look worse to me. And I was like, this doesn't look good. I really didn't like it. And like, there's no practical bees, which I'm like, I knew there wouldn't be, but man, when you see these fucking bees buzzing, they're like, that is a bunch of CGI bees. You can tell they're CGI bees. There's not a single scene that measures up to the iconic moment where Tony Todd has bees coming out of his mouth around him and Virginia Madsen. There's nothing like that. Or he reveals himself showing his chest, his rib cage has become a hive. There's nothing like that. There is some body horror in the film. Now, there is some cool practical effects that they use in the movie. I want to go too much into, which is pretty cool. Some stuff that is even reminiscent of a lot of body horror films, like David Cronenberg's The Fly, which I think is which I thought was cool. I would have liked to have seen more of it. It's like really get into it. Especially when what the person is undergoing. I would like to see them more in shock. We don't really get too much of that, but it looks good. There's a lot of bad CGI in this movie. Are you CGI? Candyman is. Yeah, and then we finally get to the third act of the film, chat, where okay, so for most of the movie, it's like, hey, we're indulging in art culture, and Candyman occasionally shows up. But then the third act becomes a straight slasher film with, and I gotta be careful what I say here, but there is something that happens in the third act that they do not set up at all, and it comes out of fucking nowhere, I guess. I mean, it's a twist, but it's like an M. Night Shyamalan, like, what? I don't understand. How is this? It doesn't make any fucking sense. What they do doesn't make any sense. And I don't even want to say what it is, but it's like, it feels completely unearned, and you're just confused. There's no explanation. You're like, wait, what? I don't understand this. Why is this happening? And I'm not saying like, well, because it's a fantasy supernatural horror film, Chris. Come on, no. It's like literally what we're introduced to and what happens afterwards makes no goddamn sense. What? No. Yeah, sadly. And you're Mark Wahlberg would be yes, he would say that during this scene. He'd be like, what? No, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's very weird. It's very weird. And the last shot in this movie, first of all, the movie ends so abruptly. It's like, that's it? Really? Wow. Okay. It ends on a really bad CGI shot. And what they do, kind of like, why'd you do that? You know, it's a bad ending. I'll say that. Like the third act it loses its mind. It's a really bad ending. And yeah, it left me just very disappointed, chat. Like, it has some good stuff in it. It definitely does. As I said before, you have some good performances from Coleman Domingo and Vanessa Stell Williams, especially, and I like Nathan Stewart-Jarrett. Cinematography is very beautiful. I like the connection to the original film. Most of them, I should say, not all of them. They do one thing where I'm like, hey, you fucked that up, you know. But yeah, it's one of the, to me, chat, I'm sorry, it's one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I hate to say this, but it's one of the biggest disappointments of the year for me. Yeah, it makes me concerned that Nia DaCosta is going to be doing a Marvel movie. You know, I don't mean to hate on her because, you know, the story, that blame needs to go in thirds, chap. That script is the worst thing about the film. And, you know, Jordan Peele, Nia DaCosta, and Win Rosenfeld, they need to give that to someone else. That need another fucking pass. Someone need to go like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. This is weird. These characters are uninteresting. They're uninteresting or they're annoying. And that's the biggest problem. You know, even with some bad CGI, if I just liked these characters, I think that would have fixed a lot of things. But the writing was bad. The writing has some sloppy shit. It's nowhere near. It's not. Yeah, I mean, people criticize the writing of the original Candyman. So that thing's a goddamn masterpiece compared to this. And so, yeah, aside from those few good things, it's a stumble. It's sadly a stumble. And I'd have to say, I'd give it probably like a low rental, chat. I give this movie like a low rental. Yeah, I hate to say it. I did not expect to walk out of the theater feeling that way, but I just do. Yeah, it's a big miss. And, you know, I haven't seen all of Nia DaCosta's other films or what she's done previously. I know she's going to be doing the Captain Marvel sequel, and I'm like, all right, well, we'll see what happens with that one. I can't say I'm excited, though. Can't say I'm excited. Initially, I was like, okay, cool. They got like a, you know, after Candyman, I'm sure she's going to, you know, do right by the Marvels, but this probably be like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if she's co-writing that film. I got some concerns about that. Yeah. I'm a fan of her work prior to this. Yeah, I've not seen her work prior to this movie, so I want to give those a shot, but I do. You know, I want to be fair, of course. You know, maybe we'll get the Nia DaCosta that worked on those movies instead of the one that worked on Candyman. I would be very much like that, but yeah, was not too impressed, Jeb. Should we expect spoiler review on GT? I don't know. That's a good question, Glee. I was going to actually text Corey about it. I'll ask him if we'll do that. But I can't say. I just don't know. I'll send him a text right now. And I want to hear your kind of just your general thoughts. What you think of the, you know, I know some of you haven't seen it, but just your reactions overall. Let me go ahead and I'll send Corey a message about it. Chat. Just give me a second here. Are we doing a Candyman spoiler review? Sent. So I'll find out in a second. Maybe. I don't know. Anything could change. Digital Looker. I liked how the scenes with Candyman played with perspective. Yeah. I see. I don't want to go too into. They use mirrors a lot in this movie, and they kind of showcase how Candyman operates. Or I don't want to go too much into the spoiler stuff, like the mirror stuff. But it's like, okay, they kind of touched on that in the original movie, and here and that is very much on. That's how much of this happens. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't really digging the mirror stuff, to be honest with you. At least it didn't work for me. Like how they choose to showcase it sometimes is just, it's very fucking weird and not even scary or not even scary, just disturbing at all. It's just like, all right, okay. Yeah. I think there's one mirror scene where I'm like, all right, this isn't working. This feels a little goofy to me. But damn, that Juice's hair looking lush gets. Oh, thank you, Epi. I appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that. You're going to be the next person to direct a Marvel film. Yeah. Yep. Those parents love Jordan Peele-like films, even though he's involved. And yeah, Us. I had a lot of story issues with Us. The writing in that movie had really bothered me. This just seems like another piss poor remake that's just diluting the original film that does nothing to make it better for the new generation of audiences, and if anything, makes them less interested in watching the original film. I'd say so. That's about right. Otherwise, it's a good movie. I have not seen it. I want to check it out. This year was as far as studio horror this year. Oh, I don't like either of those films. That's a Sophie's choice of shit. Didn't I give Old? I think I gave Old a low rental. Which one would I rather watch again? Oh God, I don't know. I feel like I could make fun of Old. I feel like if I did like a commentary or a review for Old, I'd have more fun with that. Whereas this one, I wouldn't have as much fun. You know, personally. Like I think this movie does. I just don't know. Yeah, I think I'd rather watch Old again just because I could at least laugh at it. You know. Yeah. Sport. Oh, I already read that. Let me see what the rest of you guys are saying. I'm gonna scroll up and see what you guys say. I prefer ketchup blow of side for fries. I'm all about that practical blood effects. Like this one has a lot of CGI blood. It is practical blood in it, but also it goes back and forth from practical blood to CGI blood, and you're like, okay, this is very different. The looks of these things. Damn, looked old, but I was not expecting the answer to come out. I just don't know. Neither. Let's see what else you guys are saying, chat. Let's go scroll up. Who are these people? Any known actors? Oh, yeah. Oh, like the art people? No, you wouldn't know any of these people. No. Yeah, they're yeah. I don't know. Character actors, I assume. I don't like that, but it seems cool. They showed the art scene in Atlanta. The film takes place in Atlanta and Georgia, right? Go to the art gallery, dab some ink and a bare piece of wall, then enjoy the show. Yeah, sounds like the same problem as American Skin movie had. Now I have not seen that. Damn, hello, expecting how I hate you. Yeah, lower your expectation for this, chat. Family Opera, but for black people. No, it's very operatic. Very much inspired. The original Candyman, very much inspired by Family Opera. At least it feels that way to me. Joy, they make it much easier for people to know what the monster of a movie looks like from the very beginning, so it isn't a surprise, thus isn't as scary as intended. Yes, I agree. Yeah, nothing's more boring than non-sexual moaning. No, Chris, there's castrated. I didn't want to say castrated in case, people have not seen the movie. I want to reveal what happens to that character who haven't seen that film. Candyman 1992. We have some people in the chat have not seen it, so I didn't want to spoil it for them. I want them to be disturbed. I wanted the effect to be there. Yeah. Kind of like Leprechaun Origins, the first Leprechaun movie without Warwick Davis. So that movie just made Leprechaun into a mindless monster. You know that they were planning to do a Candyman versus Leprechaun movie. That was in development, but it didn't happen. Because look how they massacred my boy. The bees were so much more timid back in '89. Yeah, that's right. Oh, with Macaulay Culkin. Are we talking The Village of a bad twist, or it's just, yeah. I mean, not like a. It's not like that. It's. I guess in The Village it makes sense. Like again, I want to do what they do at the end of the movie doesn't make any sense. It like comes out of fucking nowhere. That's all I'll say. Vanny Vanispheres, good to see you, good sir. Thank you for gifting us something. Vanny, I got your display. I was telling the people I'll showcase. I was gonna send you a message, but here you go, man. I got it right here, my friend. It looks so cool. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, good sir. Thank you. I'm gonna put this back over here. Hold on. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, thank God. Someone. I'm going to stop that train wreck. Yeah. I didn't want to see, and we don't need to see that. I guess it's because Leprechaun was in the hood at one point. Yeah, thank you, Vanny. They sneak your rack. Good to see you. Yeah. It's like one of these horror movies that hopefully everyone forgets about in the next 6 months and can convince people to watch the original instead, because at least with the old film, it brings more tension in ears. Well, I'm very interested to see what the reaction is going to be, because critics, I think, for the most part, have been fairly positive. Like, there's been some negative reviews for the film, and this is, it's just, I don't know how audiences are going to like this, because it's not paced well at all in any capacity. If people have issues with pacing the original Candyman, oh boy. What the previous I had Halloween. I had Halloween, Kills. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were. That's the only one that's coming to mind. Yeah. I don't know, it was like another horror movie. The one, the ghost thing, the ghost one with the Edgar Wright's ghost movie. They had that one there. Yeah. Thank you, Vanny. Cheers to Saluti. Thank you so much. I can't wait to hang it up. I got to find the right place for it. I'm always in view. Always in my eye line. Always in my eyesight. Yeah. Versus movie with them, Tony Todd would definitely be like, fuck this dumb shit, I ain't do it. I don't know. We'll see. People keep saying that's a ghost movie. I don't get that vibe at all from the trailer. Well, they say ghosts in the movie. They say in the trailer. She asked, do you believe in ghosts? So Fancy asked, well, I go, yes. Gives it to me by Don Roberts. Tarlin, chat. I really want to, once you guys see Candyman 2021, maybe we can revisit this discussion and talk about the films. I know some of you haven't seen it. And, I want you guys to make up your minds on your own. I don't want to influence you, of course, but, just go and I would just say go in there with lowered expectations. It's not what I was hoping it would be, in terms of just, just being as good or better. I really thought that. I thought we were gonna get the Halloween 2018 of Candyman movies. I was like, oh, this is gonna be Well, that was such a surprise at how good it was. They made Michael Myers scary again, or at the very least threatening again. Or they honored the original film. And they bring back those characters in a great, compelling way. They give the main lead something interesting to do. Hi, fuck you, Ray. No. I get it. It's a low rental. I can't give it to some old bullshit. I mean, it does has some legitimately good things in it that, should be respected and should be showcased and should be pointed out. But it fumbles the ball in a number of ways. Yeah. Expectations, sir. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I got to check to see if it's that. But yeah, people might like it. I would not be surprised if a lot of people end up liking this movie. What? Vanny? Who is this? Oh, wait. Who is this? Who's doing this? No Name Woman. I just read Vanny's name. No Name with the $5 donation. Thank you so much. It's the time of the year for scans, blood tests galore. So a lot of thanks to you, DT Advanced. Of course. Oh, no Name Woman. I know you've been going through and with your cancer. So, No Name Woman, thank you so much for the incredible support. Listen, the least I can do is entertain you. At least entertain, serenade, and whoa. It's the least we can do. So I'm so glad that you're loving all the content, and and this is it's a very welcoming and friendly place. I'm glad I have such a fantastic community. I'm glad to have you be a part of it. So thank you so much. Cheers, Lou. Thank you again for the $5. Very, very kind of you. Yes. Have you watched the Witcher animated series on Netflix? I have not. I have not watched it. No, I have not watched it. Good luck. No. Yeah, yes. Oh, so let's give some love to No Name Woman. Well, you're in remission right now, correct? You're in remission. You're in remission right now. I believe that's what you told us. There was apparently supposed to be a scene where Candyman and Neil Hamlin but the scene had to be scrapped. Todd had words about this in an interview. Interesting. Because I guess they do kiss in the movie, but they don't really show up because you see behind him. That's too bad. I gotta keep it a close eye. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Excellent to hear that. Indeed. Yeah. Oh wow. That's a Big Trouble. Indeed, it is pro. No, I love my Big Trouble in Little China. You see me as fucking Jack Burton, Chris Burton popping up. I love it. Thank you guys for the support. But I really do want to hear your guys' opinion on this movie. Hopefully by Sunday, once if we do indeed do a. I got no message back from Corey. If we do a spoiler review, I'm interested to see what you guys are saying in the chat. I won't be able to see it then because I don't have a laptop in front of me for that show, for the Sunday service. But when I get home, very curious to see what you guys are talking about. But yeah, that's kind of, he's more Terrence Howard. I could have had a little bit of Terrence Howard. It would have helped it out. He'd been interesting, I think. We've been making fun of all the art people. I think a big thing that and it's funny. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but they do. So as I said before, Alamo Drafthouse does this great thing where they don't do the ordinary, like typical theater bullshit that Regal or AMC pull. It's like coming up on TNT, a series no one will watch, like that bullshit. I fucking hate that. What Alamo Drafthouse does is they just find weird shit online that is related to the thing you're about to watch. So today, they showed off a lot of horror films with black creators, black directors, or black actors, and all sorts of things from like the 70s and 80s. Some stuff with Tony Todd, things that were like in theaters for like a couple of days or like a week, and they were taken out and they were on VHS, or now they're all they're free online. So like that, it's very. I love that shit. This is crazy. There's so much different kinds of movies out there, chap. We just a lot of us have never seen. Aside from a few people, a number of people. And one of the things they did show beforehand was it was like a Candyman documentary, like a short documentary about the history of the film. I think it was a part of like Shudder's series. And they were talking about it, and it's how, the impact the film had, the cultural impact, how it's been perceived since then. And you have these critics that came on that are, they're talking about how, this one guy I thought was very interesting what he said, where he was like, I watched it. Matter of fact, he felt like one of the artists in the movie who was just very pretentious and just grating, where he said, I watched it in a schizophrenic state. And it was a movie that, for its time is fine, but nowadays it's obviously, demeaning. It's like, all right, dude. Like, it's like, okay, and he was very hopeful for Nia DaCosta's reimagination of it. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Again, they brought up the fact that the movie was, inspired by a short story written by a white man and directed by a white man and things. And they put a negative spin on that. And I was like, hey, to be fair, I mean, hey, listen, when you do this kind of subject, the subject matter, this material, totally understand why you want a black director, a black writer, you obviously have their perspective, because their perspective, I think, is very important to that. But they did kind of put a negative spin on the original film, which I think that's kind of shitty, especially because I think that film does a pretty good job of tackling those subjects in a very subtle way, in a good way. That's just me personally. But during that documentary, Nia DaCosta also talked about her inspirations as a filmmaker and how, so several movies that she talked about, But another thing she said that was a huge inspiration for this movie was her love for the art scene, like modern day art scene and that culture. And I feel like she kind of did like a parody of it, or kind of like a fuck you to those people, honestly. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. Because I like, watching movies, like, oh, I see this. Yeah, this is, she likes that shit. Or at least she liked making fun of it, or, examining it. I think she used that along with Candyman. I don't know if that vibed very well. Again, thank you everybody. Hey, saw last night with my friend. You loved it? You loved to see some people are loving it. Some people are loving this movie, chat. That's the thing. Some people are really fucking digging this. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what people are going to be saying. I might be in the minority that just did not really care for this movie at all. Yeah. Have you seen the Candyman? Man, he tried to swing on me with that hook, man. This guy, one of those people who thinks Goldfinch is an Oscar nut. Yeah, it's like, yeah, gotta have that air about him. Yeah. The C review hustle and flow something. Yeah, man, I'm happy to do that someday. Casey, get the fuck out of this guy here. Can't understand how the original film made more sense. I know. Yeah, I mean, I think that guy had just, he took issue with the fact that it was directed by a white man. It's directed by Bernard Rose, and it's inspired by, it's adapted from the works of Clive Barker, who was a white man. So, yeah, which I think that's kind of, I understand why, like, people take issue with that. I do, I get it. But sometimes, like, all right, kind of being a little shitty about it. But she also says Apocalypse Now was a movie that made her want to be a director. Oh, she talked about that. No, she talked about how certain filmmakers are her inspirations. She talked about Francis Ford Coppola. She mentions Stanley Kubrick in 2001. I was like, oh, that's why you're pacing so bad. So, it's a black man that always felt like Candyman was a horror icon I liked. That was telling a blacker million. Yeah, no, very much so. People sound like the worst people on film Twitter. People like David Isle, or I don't know who the person is, and Chris Cabin and all those other douchebags. Yeah, I'm not even know those people, but they kind of have that kind of demeanor, opinions. Yeah, I just I don't know. It just didn't work. At the end of the day, chat, and I don't want to harp on Nia DaCosta. I haven't seen enough of her work to make an opinion on her or anything, but after watching this, I'm saying horror is not her wheelhouse. Horror is not a genre I think she needs to indulge in anymore. I just don't think it works, So we'll see. I want to check out her other things eventually. And we got Marvel's coming up, which is the sequel to Captain Marvel, which has which I'm funny enough, one of the people in the movie, Tiona Paris. She plays what's her name from WandaVision, right? That's the same actress. So she's going to be doing her thing in the Marvels as that character. So, yeah. And see what happened? Oh, I'm just talking about the movie. I'm just talking about Candyman, my opinions on it. Yeah. The people I mentioned are the type of people who call you a cretin if you being moved by one. Oh, gotcha. That's funny. Go over to play how long before they're available to rent at home. I always love going to the movies, but I'm too paranoid $20 at home. Because it would cost $15 for a ticket. I'm working at my nearest theater. I don't know what the Universal what they worked out with theaters. I know some like Paramount, it's like 45 days and you can watch it on a streaming service on theirs, like Paramount Plus. I know that. I don't know what Universal's policy is with theater chains, with AMC or Regal or all of them. Yeah, I don't know. I just right now is it on Peacock? Is it on Peacock? Will it eventually be on Peacock? Let me type in Peacock, chat. Let me see if that is happening. I'll type in Candyman 2021 Peacock. Peacock streaming now. Oh, streaming now. Is it streaming right now? Is that doing it right now? Maybe it's on Peacock. Or maybe with ads. Because that's with ads, right? Let me see here. How to watch Candyman streaming online for free at home. Or is Candyman HBO Max or Netflix? Where to watch the horror sequel? A decider. Let's see what they're saying here. Right now, the only place Candyman is in a movie theater where it opens nationwide. You can find the movie in the theater near you. So it's only in the theater right now. Only theaters, chat. This is the first one, the original one, 92 one. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Peacock is NBC. Doesn't NBC own Universal? Or am I mistaken? Yeah. Yeah. Damn. There you go, chat. Yeah, I hate to come in here being relatively negative. I didn't want to be, chat. I'm a fan of the original film. I like horror films and everything. Now, this was one of my, I've talked about it multiple times. This is one of my most anticipated movies this year, chat. It was up there with a lot of other films. And yeah, it just didn't, Comcast Universal. Gotcha. Thank you, Pro. Thank you. Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. Well, a lot of people are liking it. Like, Gagan, you liked the movie. Well, I want to hear from you, Gagan. Like, you saw the film. What did you really like about it? If you want to take a moment just to, briefly type, what was the things that you really enjoyed about it? I'm just curious. I know a lot of people have seen this movie because one, people don't want to go back to theaters because of COVID, totally understandable. I'm just curious. Universal's whole thing is that if it opens below a certain number, it'll hit on demand after 3 weeks. That's why something like the new Purge movie is already available. I like the Forever Purge. I actually dug that movie a lot. I thought it was fun. Had some issues, but I thought it was fun. Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, chat, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into some Psychonauts tonight. Got to switch out a few wires, but we can do that. Secret Record, I can't wait to see Dune in the big screen. Yes, yeah, it's coming out in October. Competing against a lot of movies. October's kind of a slaughtering ground. We'll see what happens, though. I'm seeing more and more stuff for Dune. They were showcasing some more things with Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen, that fat floating fuck. We'll see. I feel like Purge movies are as awesome without Frank Grillo. Yeah, I liked Forever Purge. I dug it. That was fun. Those ones are the best ones of Frank Grillo, though. The second and the third one, I want to say. The fourth one was the prequel. I don't know if I even saw that. Can't wait for a one night in Soho. Yeah, I just didn't like that trailer. Yeah, but I know a lot of people are excited for it. I know a lot of people are big fans of Edgar Wright. I'm a big fan. Just haven't liked his last several films, personally. Yeah. I'm hesitant to go to theaters, but Dune looks good. Maybe, we'll see what happens with COVID. Yeah, it's on HBO Max, though. It is on HBO Max, though. So you have that. Mm-hmm. There's a sick trailer coming that explains more of the plot, so maybe they'll win you over. I hope so. It's just that kind of trailer which I just don't like, where it's like we're just gonna play a song and just show you images, and you're not gonna get a sense of what the fuck's happening. And I think that's just bad marketing. I don't think you can sell a movie that way. Yeah, it never works for me. Man, been to the theater since Invisible Man. I do miss. Yeah, that was before. Eventually I went back to the theater. I forget what was the first movie I saw. What was the first movie I saw in the theater? But that was the last one for a while. I saw was The Invisible Man, which was in February. And after that, what was the film I saw that got me back to the theater? I don't remember. I think I talked about it on the stream, but I have no clue what it was. Come on, let's go. Zanet's hot, so looking for the Dunes. She does. She's a gorgeous girl. Gorgeous woman, I should say, chat. What was before F9? There was something else before F9 that I saw. Forever Purge might have been. There was something else. It was another movie film. I can't remember at the top of my head. That's right. It was A Quiet Place Part 2. That was the first one. And that was great. I really liked A Quiet Place Part 2, chat. Full price, high full price territory with that movie. That was a good one. Yeah. Well, chat, we're going to go ahead and jump into some Psychonauts. If you want to share your opinions on the movie, I know you really like the film, so I'm just kind of curious to hear your opinions on it, overall. And unless you might be typing a message, but I'll definitely read it. But in the meantime, chat, I'm just going to go ahead and switch out a couple wires. I got to get my Xbox and stuff, and I'll figure it out. But just give me 1 second, chat. In the meantime, just go ahead and look at Black Manta's head for the meantime, chat. Good looking head. I will say that. You got a good looking head there, chat. Stick around. Ooh-wee, chat. You guys saying? One Night So is a horror quantum leap. It's a girl living the life of a murdered woman, and she has to find the killer before she's killed in the woman's place. Ah. Interesting. Well, such a bad photo. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. See that little CGI? I like that CGI B. There's a lot of them in the movie. Yeah. Yeah, so you got a round head? You got a round head. I will say this, there's some body horror in it, but for the most part, at least in the first third of the film, abdul-mateen, handsome fucking man, chat. Handsome guy, takes care of himself. He's got a great body. No doubt about that. Very sexy. And he displays, he's like, I'm going to show this off in the fucking film, all right? He does that. There are many scenes where Yaha has taken his shirt off, chat, and you're going to watch him. Here we go. I got it from again. Nice, man. I'm very curious to see what you have to say. Wait, this isn't the... if anyone sees it okay, all I'll say is, if you see this in the Alamo Draft House and they do that Candyman, documentary, you might see a certain bees make a cameo. Again, I had the pleasure of going and completely blind. I saw one teaser and ignored it all, so everything was fresh in terms of concept. I was a huge fan of the original. I liked unraveling who Candyman was in the story and how Helen's story became a part of the legend. Yeah. That does play a big role in it. I also just like the performances. Everyone was really great, especially the lead. Fair enough. Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Yeah, except when Chris says body horror. You'd be dead. You'd all be fucking dead. Got me sweaty, I know. No, it's very good again. No, listen, I like having these back and forth and discussions, and especially over, like a franchise like Candyman, or like the original movie, and compared to this one, I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people are liking this more than people are not. That's clearly the case so far. So no, it's interesting, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. That was one of the positive aspects I brought about the film. How they make a lot of those connections to the original movie, or how they reference them, I think are done very well. Very, very well. They really do respect the first film's history. And I think that's great. Especially in regards to Virginia Madsen. I was kind of surprised by that. So, yeah. Tony Todd's brother in the movie, is he in it? I'm not going to mention anything about Tony Todd. I can't say anything. If we do a spoiler review, we'll talk about that. Again, to add on with the horror, I felt that Candyman was very ethereal and ghost-like instead of a slasher. Yeah, to me, he felt more. I mean, yeah, he's more ghost-like than ever. To me, he felt more like a ghoul, a moaning ghoul, which I kind of made him less interesting for myself. I was like, he doesn't really have any dialogue, for the most part. But yeah, but no, but again, you like that. You like that. We're just on different sides of that, which is cool. This is interesting. Makes for a compelling conversation. Body horror, I notice he describes himself as unintentionally funny a lot. I do that too. Those are some of my key words I do. I like those. Are key terms. Unintentionally funny, body horror. You'll pick up on certain things. I appreciate this. Yeah. You got me down. You got me pegged, chat. And not in a sexual way. Or maybe you do. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and refill my little alcohol glass. That was a good review. That was a good discussion. Of course, we'll continue to talk about Candyman throughout all this. I want to hear your opinions. Not spoilers, of course. I'm not going to do any spoilers. I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But I'll be right back, chat. Please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I shall return in a hot minute. Stick around.